Hello, everyone, and welcome to our little sampler class, a Yoga Ergo class with Julie. Today, we're going to do some postures and some practicing presence with our own bodies and minds that Inward Office does best. And our classes are designed to help facilitate more clarity, more patience, and more ease in our body for the rest of the day. In this case, holding it at noon on a Tuesday. And so feel free to attend our free classes as they come up monthly. They are usually held midweek in the middle of the day. And so you can look at our schedule for that. And feel free to invite us to your next event, your wellness day, your staff meeting, or hold regular classes for your groups. As many workplaces find, this is a really welcome addition as, give back to employees, a way to make them feel better in the middle of their day. And it's in some ways a backdoor approach to many of the repetitive stress injuries and fatigue and exhaustion that we experience just from living our regular human life. So again, feel free to use this recording. We'll have it up for a month. And yeah, welcome to Julie, who is one of our longest instructors on our team, has been practicing a very long time and knows firsthand what happens when we work at a computer long hours and have the demands of workplace. She had a long career in the pharmaceutical industry, right, Julie?
That's correct. Yes.
Yeah. And so I'll hand it over to you.
All right. Great. Thank you, Marla. Yes, my name's Julie. Very happy to be here today. And like Marla said, I'm very familiar with sitting at a desk for many hours a day, working for corporate America for decades. And now, as a yoga instructor and as a new personal trainer, I'm even more aware of what that type of lifestyle and activities can do to our bodies. And so it's really important for us to take time throughout our day to stretch and move and disconnect and get rid of those repetitive movements so that we can actually prevent some of what we call dysfunctions in our bodies. And this is what, as personal trainers, we look at. And just for awareness, dysfunctions is more about misalignments in our body. And many of these misalignments can be caused from our daily activities. So the good news is that we have the opportunity and the ability to prevent and actually convert some of these dysfunctions in our bodies. So today will be a perfect example of some of these stretches and movements that we can do to prevent some of these misalignments in our body just by opening up a little midday decompress to open not only our bodies, but our minds too. All right, our practice will be done in a chair today. So I invite you all to sit comfortably in a chair. I like to have blocks under my feet because my feet don't touch the floor comfortably. So making alterations so that your workspace or your environment suits you and your physical needs is important as well. So that certainly is a big part of our ergonomics, right? So feet on the floor or blocks, whatever you need to support yourself. Feel your bottom on the chair and roll those shoulder blades back. All right, we're going to tip that chin just a bit as we settle into just a few moments of stillness to check in. Making a choice about closing your eyes or keeping them open. This opportunity to disconnect from our work environment or whatever we were doing prior to this. A little time to pause and review and assess internally how we're feeling today. So let's take a moment to feel your feet on the floor, feel your bottom on the chair, and then circulate your energy throughout your body, just noticing what you feel. You can offer some movements in your body, shifting your shoulders if you choose, and just noticing how you feel, any tightness, any soreness, any restriction. And then just doing this kind of physical assessment to notice what you feel before you start some movement. And then we'll come back into stillness and take an opportunity to reset our mind. Focusing in on the connection of our breath. So take a moment to notice your chest rise as you inhale. Notice your chest fall as you exhale. Just following and feeling the natural rhythm of your breath. So using this time to disconnect and pause, connect with your breath. So it's a practice, it's a tool, but here in this moment, when we connect with our breath, it is a way for us to soothe our central nervous system, to maybe calm some of that noise in our minds, taking an opportunity to mentally decompress when we focus in on each inhale and each exhale. When we focus on our breath, we are truly in the moment. It's very difficult for our brains to think about the past breath or the future breath. So it gives us an opportunity to practice mindfulness, being in the moment, connecting with our breath. And if we do this often enough, we train our brain to react in a positive way to the connection of our breath. And just like anything, the more we practice, the easier it becomes. We're going to add some movement now with our breath. So on our next inhale, we're going to lift our arms above our head, bring those palms together above your head, and then a little shift side to side. Lift and lengthen, open and lift in your chest. These small movements, again, to just assess what you feel in your spine, in your shoulders, as we shift side to side. We'll come back to center, continue to connect with our breath. So on an inhale, look up. And on our exhale, bring those arms down. Go ahead and bring that chin to the chest and just rock the head side to side, lengthening the cervical spine, the neck, as you release and let go. We hold a lot of tension in our neck often. And just a reminder that our neck works really hard all day long, holding up our big giant brains, right? They're heavy. All right, we'll come back together with a breath. On an inhale, lift and reach. And on our exhale, side out, arms come down. We'll do that again. On an inhale, lift and reach. And on our exhale, side out, arms come down, back up to a neutral spine. Roll those shoulder blades back. All right, now focusing on our cervical spine. So our spine is in separate segments. So our cervical is our neck. Our thoracic spine is where our ribs are connected. Our lumbar spine is our lower back. And then we have our sacral and our coxal. We're going to focus on our neck, thoracic, and lumbar today. So cervical spine first, dropping that left ear to the left shoulder. Just opening up the right side of the shoulder and neck. And then you can take that right arm away from your body if you choose to deepen that stretch. And then we'll drop our chin to our chest, keeping that right arm extended. And then we'll drop our right ear to our right shoulder, take that left arm away from our body. All right, drop your chin to your chest, and then left ear to our left shoulder. Chin to our chest, right ear to our right shoulder. Chin to our chest, left ear to our left shoulder. Just rocking our head in these 3 positions, just letting go of tension. All right, we'll come back up to a neutral spine, roll those shoulder blades back, arms still lifted. Now we're going to take our palms away from us and push our hands back. All right, so opening and lifting in the shoulders, lifting in the chest, and noticing what you feel here as we stretch and open. When I put myself in this position, I always think about what it would feel like to cross the finish line after a marathon, right? It can be very exhilarating as we open and lift. So just feel that excitement in your body. All right, now we're going to take our right hand, place it on our chest, left hand on our belly, and just focusing in on the thoracic spine now. So you can take your index finger and your thumb on that right hand and feel your collarbone, and then have that left hand just above your belly button. So thinking inside, in interoception, looking inside, thinking about the ribs and that part of our spine where our ribs are connected. This is a part of our spine that likes to move. So now we're going to go ahead and just twist gently to the left, twisting in that thoracic spine, shifting the tissue around the vertebrae, and then we'll come back to center. We're going to shift now back to the right for a spinal twist, thinking about that thoracic spine, shifting, come back to center, and then we'll twist back to the left. We'll come back to center and shift back to the right, and then back to center. All right, now we're going to take that right hand and drop it onto our left knee, and that left arm can go behind us. Now we're going to use our hand against our knee to deepen that twist. So why it's important throughout our day to twist the spine, the thoracic spine specifically, is because that's where the flexibility lies. And if we don't maintain flexibility in our thoracic spine, that's where the lumbar spine will take over. And that's where we can cause injuries or tightness in the spine because our lumbar spine does not like to twist. That's why we need to keep our thoracic spine limber and open, flexible. All right, we'll unwind, go the opposite way. Left hand on the outside of that right knee, right hand behind us. And getting a little deeper into that twist, pushing the hand against the knee. All right, we're going to unwind, come back to center. We're going to bring our arms out in front, just create a fist with those hands. So rolling those wrists around, not forgetting our wrists, certainly, because that is definitely something we use throughout our day on our keyboards, our phones, and we need to keep the mobility in our wrist joints as well. And do this throughout your day when you're doing those repetitive motions. All right, now we're going to push our hands away from our body. Bring those left fingertips towards your body. Stretch out that hand. All right, we'll reverse to the opposite hand, pulling the right fingers towards our body and not forgetting our thumb. Do a little wiggle with the thumb too and creating circles because the first place where most people encounter arthritis is the thumb. So remembering to keep it mobile and stretching it out through the day as well. All right, we'll bring our arms down, come back to neutral, roll those shoulders. All right, so let's think about our posture here. So we know that we have a natural curve in our spine. We always want to be aware if we're slouching throughout our day or we're opening and lifting and rolling the shoulder blades back. So even when you're focused on some intense tasks, think about that posture. Imagine as though the string is being pulled from your head. All right, now we'll go into our whole spine. So hands on our knees. We're going to move into cat-cow. So we're going to push our spine back, chin to our chest, around that spine. So our thoracic spine is being affected, our lumbar spine here. And then we're going to open and lift, roll the shoulder blades back to create decompression in our spine. All right, we'll push back to our cat. Open and lift for our cow. Push back for our cat. Open and lift for our cow. Push back for cat, open and lift for cow. We'll do that one more time as we get into every single vertebrae in our spine, coming back into neutral. So as we move through our day, gravity compresses the spine. We need to take opportunity to decompress and elongate. All right, now we're going to go deeper into some lumbar back stretches, taking our hands behind us now. We can place our hands on the small of our back, open and lift in our chest for a little baby camel. It's a chest opener, back bend, just stretching into the chest, the thoracic, and the lumbar spine as you create this camel shape in your body. All right, we'll come back to a neutral spine, and you can take this camel a little bit deeper. We're going to bring our arms out in front, bring those palms together, take a deep inhale in, and on our exhale, push those arms away from you. Now, if you choose, you can grab the back of the chair, move your bottom forward, open and lift in the chest, or maybe a little bit deeper camel pose, decompressing that spine. All right, and we'll swing our arms around now, hands on our knees, and we're going to shift our upper body around in a circular motion. So leaning forward and shifting around in a circle, engaging the core as we lean back. Just a nice way to begin to open up the hips. So our whole core is involved in this motion, and our core is the part of our body from our hips to our shoulders, right? And if we keep our core strong and limber, we are less likely to have injuries in our extremities. Reverse or circle in the opposite direction. All right, we're going to come back to a neutral position. We're going to take our arms out wide and just push the hands away. Imagine you have two walls closing in on you. Little lateral movement in that spine. Now we're going to shift to the left and back to center, shift to the right. So just a different plane of motion, using different muscles, creating different openness as we shift side to side. So it's good to move our bodies in different planes of motions to have that total integrated impact and openness, getting into all different kinds of muscles. All right, we're going to come back to a neutral position, feet on the floor, roll the shoulder blades back, check in on the posture. All right, simple hip movement. We're going to take our right foot and move it away from our body with the foot perpendicular to our body. I'm going to bring that right foot back and then set it back down. So range of motion, opening up the hip as we open and close. So just like our spine, our hips are compressed all day long. So just taking opportunities in these relatively simple movements to open and expand. All right, now we'll take that left foot and move it off our mat the same way, off to the left. And again, using the hip joint, the femur bone, as we shift that left foot away from the body and then back. All right, now we're going to go into a little deeper hip stretch, and you choose what suits you best. Taking our right ankle onto our left knee, if this feels good. And if that doesn't feel good, then you're just going to cross your foot lower on your leg. But the idea here is to come into a hip stretch. And maybe if you're in this position, applying a little bit of pressure on that top leg feels good. Otherwise, that foot can be down. And as long as you're feeling a little pinch or a little openness happening in that right hip, then you're in a good place. Never pain, just maybe a little bit of discomfort. All right, now you can choose to hinge forward and deepen that hip stretch. So whether your leg is out straight or not, you can choose what works for you here. All right, we'll lift that upper body up. And then we'll reverse, taking our left ankle onto our right knee or down towards our ankle, coming into that hip stretch on this side, toes flex. And then if it feels good, applying a little bit of pressure on that top leg. And then deciding if it feels good to hinge forward and deepen that stretch. All right, we'll lift that upper body up, set that left foot down. And now on an inhale, we're going to lift our arms up, reach. We're going to hinge forward, take those arms alongside your body, palms up, hover over the knees as we elongate the spine and continue to open the hips a bit. On our next inhale, we're going to lift up and reach. And on our exhale, hover over those knees, bring those arms alongside the body. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, lower down. We'll do that 2 more times. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, lift up. Last time, exhale back into that ski jump. We'll lift back up to a neutral spine, reset our posture. And now we're going to take our feet out wide, heels in, toes out for a goddess pose, sitting on the edge of your chair. And you can just start by putting a little bit of pressure on those inner thighs. So stretching our inner thighs, our hips here, heels in, toes out. And then we're going to do a bunch of different reaches to allow us to get into different muscle groups. So we'll start with our hands down in between our legs, just reaching one arm at a time as you shift. So getting into that lower spine, just reaching with those arms, keeping our legs wide. So creating openness in our hips and those inner thighs, our lower back with these movements. All right, now we'll come back to neutral with our legs as they are. We're going to lift our arms up, palms up towards the ceiling, and just reach one arm at a time here. So again, continuing to lengthen the spine, opening up the top of the shoulders and feeling it in different places in your body as you just reach. All right, we'll bring our arms down now. We're going to reach in the opposite direction. So we're going to take our left arm, reach towards the right. And then we'll come back. We're going to take our right arm, reach towards the left. Where do you feel this in your body? We'll bring it back. We'll do it a few more times on each side, reaching left hand to the right, bring it back, right hand to the left, and bring it back. Left hand to the right, reach, bring it back, right hand to the left, bring it back. We'll do it one more time on each side. Each time, maybe we reach a little bit further, getting a little deeper into those back muscles. We'll come back to neutral. All right, now we're going to add a little extra boost to that reach. We're going to take our left hand, reach it to the right. And now we're going to lift that left arm up, reach behind us, follow with your hand, and get that big open stretch in our chest. All right, take that left hand. We're going to push it to the right again. Lift that left hand up, reach above you. I call this rainbow. Follow that rainbow. 2 more times. Left hand to the right, lift up, find that arch, reach behind you for that rainbow. Last time, left hand to the right, lift up and reach for that rainbow. All right, we'll do the other side. Right hand to the left, reach, lift up, rainbow, follow the hand. Reach the right hand to the left, lift up, follow that rainbow. 2 more times, reach, lift up, rainbow. Last time, reach and lift up for that rainbow. Beautiful. All right, lots of good action in that lower back to stretch out those muscles, right? All right, now we're going to bring our hands together. I like to say we have a cauldron in front of us and we're going to stir our pot. So we're going to reach forward and bring it back and just stir that pot, continuing to lengthen the muscles in our spine. So we have muscles in our bodies that are weak and need to be strengthened. And then we have muscles in our bodies that are overactive and need to be stretched. All right, so reversing your cauldron the other way. So why that's important is to know what's happening in your body and what you need. And the good thing about these movements is we can get into some of the really common areas where many of us have overactive muscles, like in our lower back, that need to be stretched. All right, we'll come back to neutral. Beautiful. All right, left arm's going to go down our left leg, right arm up and over, and find a nice side body stretch here. You reach that right arm over your head towards the left. And then we'll reverse. Right arm down, left arm up and over for a nice big reach here. And then we're going to just sway back side to side. So here you can go at your own pace, reaching the arm over the head, stretching out that left side body. And what they say is movement is one of the best ways to release anxiety. So just moving your body into these different movements and shapes to reset our body and reset our mind. All right, we'll sway one more time on each side. And then we're going to come back to neutral. Walk our feet in onto the blocks or the floor. And we'll find one last stretch before we find a moment of stillness. All right, so on our inhale, we're going to lift our arms up. We'll reach. We call this extended mountain pose. And then we're going to fold forward. Just hover over your knees. Let your head go. Lengthen that spine. Release the face and just let go of tension here. Anytime we put our head below our hips, we are telling our brains that there's no threat. Therefore, it can reset. This forward fold is a great way to lengthen that spine. All right, we'll slowly roll up back to our seated position. And knowing that everything is connected in our kinetic chain, we don't want to forget our ankles. So let's just get a little love to our ankles. So take that right foot out, roll the ankle, increase that ankle mobility, the checkpoints in our bodies for alignment to our ankles, knees, hips, shoulders, and neck. So what's happening in your ankle can definitely impact what's happening in your hip and your shoulders. So giving attention to all the different joints in our body. All right, right foot comes down. Go ahead and take that left leg out. Roll that ankle on this side. All right, we'll set that left foot down, come back into our neutral Tadasana position. And we'll just follow up with one last sequence here. So on our inhale, lift our arms up, reach. And on our exhale, we're going to find a forward fold. Come back where we were. This time we're going to lift up halfway. Find a long spine. Exhale out, forward fold. And on our inhale, we lift and rise up, extended mountain pose, and then lower those hands to our heart center. All right. So typically at the end of a practice like this, we like to take a moment, 30 seconds or so in stillness to kind of take in what we received. So find a position of stillness, and just taking a moment to assess what you feel in your body and let it settle. Giving you a moment of silence before I offer a few positive affirmations. So we took this time today to stretch and move our bodies to reset from a physical way. Get into these different stretches that can release tension, de-stress us, energize us, maybe create a little bit more calmness in our minds and our bodies. But offering a little bit more reset to our minds at this moment as we close our practice. Closing with a few positive affirmations to connect with our true selves. So say to yourself, I move through this day with gratitude. I am calm and centered and move with confidence and grace. I trust myself to make choices that are my best self. I am worthy of joy and success. My energy attracts positivity and creativity. So just letting whatever words there resonate with you and settle in your mind, offering just an opportunity to energize not only your body, but your mind as well. That concludes our practice today. So I want to say thank you so much for being with us today. I appreciate this time, and I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. Namaste.
Thanks, Julie. My upper back feels awesome.
Oh, good, good.
I'm like, it's so simple. And I'm like, wow, I love what you said about the low back taking a hit. I can feel my low back taking a hit, and I know my thoracic is a little stiff, we'll say that, locked up. So
Right.
yeah, I really
Many of
appreciate
us are that way, so I
it.
understand.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right, bye for now.